Hi, and welcome to the Hofline, your online hotline, direct line to the women-only attorneys at Hofheimer Family Law. My name is Katie Carter, and I'm so glad that you're here. I'm a Virginia-based family law firm dedicated to representing women exclusively in divorce, custody, and support cases. I'm here today with Sheera Herrell and Caitlin Walters, two attorneys from my office, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about our monthly divorce seminar program, and I thought there's really no one better to talk about this with than Caitlin and Sheera, because between the three of us, we're the attorneys who've been at the law firm the longest, which is kind of crazy.
It is crazy.
You could say that we're, the OGs, right?
I like it.
Call it what you want to.
That's
But that is what it is. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And Sheera, I'm hoping you can kick us off and get us started. Tell us a little bit more about the monthly divorce seminar program and how it originally got started.
Sure. Well, the monthly divorce seminar is for women only, and we talk about general topics involving the divorce process. So we talk about grounds of divorce, we talk about property distribution, we talk about spousal support. We touch a little bit on custody and child support, but we have our other seminar, the Custody Boot Camp. That's a more in-depth custody seminar. So we only really just touch on the custody piece of it. But when we talk about grounds and property distribution and spousal support, we give general information and we welcome questions, general in nature, and we try to answer as many as we can. In terms of how it all started, I believe it started back in 1992 when Charlie Hofheimer, the former owner of the firm, he was a lawyer at the time, but was working as a financial advisor. And he started presenting these seminars with a fellow divorce lawyer. And as things evolved, he opened his own firm and kept doing the seminars, but then as an attorney. So that's sort of the origination of how it started.
Yeah, I mean, I always say in our seminars, we've been doing it for over 30 years, although, obviously not me personally, right?
No,
just way too
no.
way too young to have been doing it for that long.
Babies.
I've been doing it since 1999.
It's a long time. Yep.
It's been a long time.
Since what,
I've been
2011.
Yeah, in 2013 for me, I started at the firm in 2013.
It's crazy how fast time goes. So Caitlin, could you tell us a little bit more about why you think it's so important for women to attend divorce seminars?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest benefit that you get from this seminar is just gathering general information, because this process of potentially separating, knowing you're going to separate, you're in the middle of a divorce. Any step of the arena that you're in, this process is overwhelming and it is incredibly difficult to go through. And I tend to find the more just general knowledge that you have, that you're getting from actual attorneys who actually do this type of law, can be really helpful to ease some of that anxiety and that stress. I think we all know, we joke about Dr. Google, right? And I think we've got attorney Google too, that you can Google things and maybe it's right, maybe it's not. We have friends. Always, right? That's what it always is. You're going to die probably tomorrow. Like, that's just what it always, I avoid Dr. Google as much as I can, because that's always what happens, because I'm also neurotic and have anxiety. And so of course it's always to the extreme. But, so we have that you're getting information, but you just don't really know, is it right? Is it wrong? Does it apply to me? We have friends and family members, like all of us have some way that we've been touched by divorce in our personal lives, even if it's not us personally going through it. And so we can hear from those friends and family members how their cases went. But divorces are so fact specific and so specific on where you are, what state you're in, even sometimes what city you're in, that sometimes you can get some incorrect information on that. And so I think coming to a seminar that is presented by attorneys in Virginia who do family law, to gather that part of what you can expect. And again, we have clients or women that come to these seminars that, they're just in the beginning steps of, do I even want to separate from my spouse? And having that knowledge base and knowing kind of what you could expect, how the law works, I think, again, takes that part of the anxiety out to where you can really focus on the rest of what goes into deciding whether or not to divorce, and the rest of what goes into that idea, the emotional aspects, the psychological aspects that we can't necessarily touch on. Because we're not, we care, but we're not trained therapists. At least anybody I know I'm not. I don't think anybody in the firm is, but So again, it's just that knowledge, having knowledge, and the old saying, knowledge is power, right? Like there is something to that. And so I think that's really the biggest benefit that I see in this seminar for women that attend, is getting that power back and knowing the general, again, aspects of what this process
I think there's a
looks
lot
like.
of a lot of what happens in your divorce depends on the choices that you make at the very, very beginning. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making is that they sort of jump in head first, whether they're following the advice of someone random that they got on the internet, or their husband has told them something that they're believing to be true, and then they act on it without verifying that that's actually how it works and that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Those kinds of mistakes can blow up a case and make you wind up in court when maybe that's not the best way, or make things more time consuming, more expensive, generally more contentious. So it is really important, especially at the beginning stages, to make sure that you know the options that you have so that you can strategically plan. I like to tell people to think about what their goals might be, and then kind of work backwards so that you can reverse engineer a way to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. And you can really only do that with information. Otherwise, you're just speculating, and it's difficult to put the plan into motion. But it is important that you do that if you want to get the best results possible. So you really do need to get that information. I know, Sheera, you talked a little bit about the topics that we cover in the seminar, but can you give us a more general overview of what it looks like and the topics that are covered?
Sure. So the seminar is about an hour and a half, and we go through it incrementally, first talking about grounds, talking about fault and no fault, and what those mean, what you have to do to prove them. And then we move on to property, give definitions of separate marital, hybrid property, talk about what happens to the house, generally speaking, how do you divide up retirement accounts and investments and that sort of thing. We talk about debt, we talk about cars, anything really related to property distribution. And then we talk about spousal support and how the court looks at that and how it's generally calculated. So you can get a lot of good information, but of course it's general. And I always say in Second Saturday that what I say in the seminar may not apply to you based on your factual circumstance. It's best to meet with an attorney so I can give, if you meet with me or meet with Caitlin, meet with Katie, we can give you one-on-one advice, or any attorney that you meet with. Based on your factual situation. So we get pretty in depth in that hour and a half. And again, we welcome questions. I always ask people to submit questions based on the topic that is being discussed at that moment. And we read them live and we will answer those questions. Of course, we ask that the questions be general in nature. We don't want anyone to give too many specifics because it's not a confidential environment. We're all very protective of client confidentiality. We don't want anyone spilling their confidences because that can be problematic in the divorce. So you have to be careful about that. But just general questions, we absolutely welcome and actually encourage. I think
exactly.
I think the seminar. Yammer on for an hour and a half.
Yes. Nobody wants that.
I enjoy having the questions. Yes, I think it makes the seminar more interesting, quite frankly. And another great aspect of the seminar is that once you pay and register one time, you can come back free as many times as you want. So we've had multiple women come multiple times. I encourage women to go to different seminars so they can see how I present, how Caitlin presents, how Katie or Lori or Lorna or Ashley in our office, because everyone has a different style, a different focus, and you can learn something from all of us. And then one more thing about the seminar is that we give a very detailed workbook that is, once you register, you download it, you can receive it, chock full of information. We probably the one criticism would be we overload you with information.
Yes, it can be overwhelming.
It can be a little overwhelming. It can be overwhelming, but I've had a lot of women tell me, I've received your books. I went to the seminar. I didn't read everything initially because I needed time, but over the course of a span of time, I went back and I read it, and it made me feel better about my situation because I just had more information about the process.
Well, and that's why we take questions too, right? It is, I mean, it is confusing. I mean, even, I came in, fresh from law school. So obviously I didn't know anything. either. And it takes you a while to get get command of the information. So if it's confusing and overwhelming, it's nothing to do with you. It just takes time. So that's why we say, come back to the seminar as many times as you want. You might take something away. You'll certainly take something away today, but next time you might take something different away, and like kind of gradually over time, the pieces fall into place and it starts to make a lot more sense. It's not necessarily particularly intuitive, but it is, it is understandable. You just have to, put the time in to understand it. And that's why we're here. We want to make sure that you have, all of the information to make the best possible choices for you and your family moving forward. That's absolutely the number one goal. Caitlin, right. I just have one more question for you, Caitlin, though. If you could tell us exactly when are the seminars, and how much do they cost if someone would want to register to attend one?
So these seminars are every second Saturday of the month in the morning at 8:30?
8:30.
Okay, there you go. 8:30.
I do them.
No, you should.
I do them. I show up, I promise, on time. I do. I promise. Just one time I forgot. But every second Saturday morning at 8:30, every third Tuesday evening at 6:30, except for the third Tuesday in December. We don't do it then because it's really close to Christmas. And then every third Thursday of the month at noon. So we have our afternoon seminar, again, except the third Thursday in December. We don't do it then, again, too close to Christmas. But other than that, they are second Saturday, third Tuesday, third Thursday every month. The cost to attend is $50 for that online seminar. And again, like we've both all said, you can attend as many times as you want. Once you've paid that $50, you don't have to pay again. So I have had recently, especially, I've had a lot of women who have attended that said, I attended this seminar 5 years ago and got some information and I wasn't ready to proceed then, or my husband and I were working on reconciling, but now, we're back in this place again and I just wanted to kind of get a refresher on that information. So again, it's at $50. I think though we are, again, as a firm, we're very passionate about empowering women and giving them knowledge. And so if that $50 is going to be something that is problematic, please reach out. We can see if we can work with you. Again, I think we want people to attend, but it is that $50. And I will say $50 anytime you want to come. You are an hour and a half of our time. $50 for an hour and a half of all of our time is a lot less than an hour of an attorney's time. And so it is an investment, but it is an investment to get information. And it is, again, I think a great first step to start that process. So again, every second Saturday morning, 8:30, every third Tuesday evening at 6:30, except for the third Tuesday in December, and every third Thursday of the month at noon, except for the third Thursday in December. We have our seminars, and we try to, on our Facebook page, if you go to that, we indicate who's presenting each seminar every month. And so if you go to our website and you look at our bios and you're like, hey, I think, Katie sounds like somebody I would really connect with. And I mean, I didn't want to say it, but you're probably not going to connect with Katie because but if for some reason something about Katie just happened to speak to you, you can go to our Facebook page and check out when Katie is presenting, and you can go and attend the seminar. You're going to get great information from her. And as Sheera said, we all have our differences. And so you'll get a feel for her vibe, right? Like you got to mesh with your attorney, because we're going to get into some of the nitty gritty of your dirty laundry. And so you don't want somebody you're uncomfortable with. So it also is a really great way to get a feel for us before you make that next investment of that one-on-one consultation, and then make hopefully the next investment, which would be hiring us to help you through your case. So again, a really great way to utilize this program information, getting to know us better as we present, getting your questions answered, and just, arming yourself for this lengthy, sometimes usually very difficult, very emotional process.
I mean, I think ultimately, just like, in a marriage, the how good it is depends on the people in it. So if it's not a very good marriage, then divorce is the desirable outcome. And the procedure may not be a whole lot of fun, especially not compared to like going to a wedding. But like there's more than one way to celebrate a new beginning. So if you are heading towards divorce, then you're in the right place. We are more than happy to help you answer your questions and figure out the best way to move forward. I do think it is important to be strategic, to have all the information that you need, and that can really only come from licensed, experienced attorneys who represent women in divorce and custody cases in Virginia, not some random internet stranger or Dr. Google or some, some other approximation, because you just don't know what's true and what's not. And it can be hard to separate fact from fiction. It's not immediately obvious. So, do yourself a favor and get the right information. We're so happy to help, so happy to have you at the seminar. And again, like Caitlin said, if the $50 fee is an impediment in any way, just reach out to us and we'll see what we can do to help. But you should also, in the meantime, visit our website at hoflaw.com. That's HOFLAW.com. We have 4 free books on divorce, custody, military divorce, hiring an attorney, free reports, a number of blogs and articles. We have registration information for our monthly divorce seminars and for Custody Boot Camp for Moms, our custody seminar, which Caitlin actually happens to present. And we hope to see you there. But thank you guys so much for coming and sharing your expertise. I know that our monthly divorce seminars are a bit of a passion project for us in terms of like our mission and doing what we can to help empower women going through the divorce process. But really appreciate your time and expertise, and thank you to everyone so much for tuning in.